Good morning, everybody. I am talking to you for our my first video blog or video log of the trip to the Southwest Asia with the USO Thank You Tour. And we're sitting at the Saphir Hotel today. We're about to take off. We've got our overnight bags packed, and we're going to head to another Army base here in Kuwait. And we're actually going to have the opportunity to not only get to thank these guys and spend some time with them, but we're also going to be able to stay overnight in their barracks and really get to experience what they're going through here. So far, it's been an amazing trip. I got to tell you, it's a lot of travel. Alana Ross, our Vice President of Corporate Relations, and myself we flew into DC, stayed at the Dulles Airport, caught an A380 Emirates Air flight to Dubai, which was a little over 12 hours. Had about a 3+ hour layover in Dubai, and then caught a pretty short hop, hour and a half, hour 45, something like that, flight to Kuwait, where we were greeted by Bruce, and I'm losing Bruce's last name right now, but he's the regional manager, regional vice president of the USO in Southwest Asia. So he manages all operations for all the bases and the facilities and the programs for all operations going on in Southwest Asia. And quite frankly, yesterday we got to learn a little bit about the scale of those operations, and it's really impressive and much grander than I might have even expected of what was going on right now. So we were able to come in. We made it into the Sphere Hotel. I'm losing track of the days, but 2 days ago. Dealt with our jet lag a little bit. We were kind of left on our own to get some meals and get some sleep, and we were able to get up and get going yesterday. And we went to Al Jafir Air Base, which is technically a Kuwaiti air base that the U.S. leases space from. And I'll tell you, they got a lot of security. We were able to meet our first recipient of one of our care packages, the BBMC care packages that are coming in these camo bags right here with some really great stuff that these guys are loving. And Sergeant Koperick, I think, is his Staff Sergeant Koperick. He's a Air Force security forces guy, was manning the front gate, and we were able to get to meet him a little bit and hand him the first care package that we passed out. He was very grateful, and we also got his partner from the security force, who was probably like hiding behind a bush or something to make sure we didn't know he was there. So we went in, had the opportunity. Boy, you could really tell the difference between the Kuwaiti side and the American and multinational red sides. There was also a lot of Italians there. A lot of Polish there, actually, as part of the coalition. A lot of Marines that had a very grueling mission. They're supposed to be deployed anywhere at any time to rescue Americans anywhere in Southwest Asia. Really neat conversations with some of those guys. But the Air Force is pretty much running the show there. And not only were we able to come in, and I'm going to slaughter some names here, but LT, Lieutenant Menchaca, I believe was her last name. Wonderful young LT. She's the deputy commander of the base, actually, which is pretty high for lieutenant, but she's green to gold. So she'd had 11 years in as enlisted and had been gotten her commission through green to gold. So she's been in for a long time, very mature. Showed us around, took us to the DFAC. Gotta say, I'm a little jealous. They got some really good food. We were best Salisbury steak I've ever had, baked chicken. I mean, just the whole thing, salad bar, the whole deal. Plenty of Coca-Cola products. One of the people we're here with today is Erica. She's the philanthropic representative for Coca-Cola. She's very proud of her company. So we were all proud to see all the Coke products in there as well too. They do great work for the USO. So we were able to eat with those guys. We went into a private room, which probably is used for officer mess or something like that. Had about 11 airmen and Marines in there with us to just kind of talk about what was going on in their day-to-day lives. These guys live a really interesting lifestyle while they're here. Kuwait is a dry country. Not that you need like alcohol, but they're also stuck in the middle of a desert at a base. They have limited opportunities to go off. And what I didn't realize is out of that base, the 407th Air Expeditionary Group is actually running all air power for the entire operations in Southwest Asia. They have Marine jets. They've got coalition jets right now. Currently, they don't have any of their Air Force jets going, but that's just because there's a rotation going on between aircraft carriers, I believe. So they are literally running operations to annihilate, is the new word that General Mattis, we learned yesterday, to annihilate ISIS. And for those of you that don't have a military background, those words matter, right? So obscure, it's been a while since I've studied them, but to obscure, to screen, to destroy, to annihilate, but there's one in between there, which is, I think, to attrit. And so we have missions based off of our fires on what the damage level is that we're meant to do and what success means on any given mission. And so to have the mission of annihilate is exactly what it sounds like, to kill them all. And so that was interesting. So every 8 minutes, so Colonel Lyons, I guess let me take a step back here. Colonel Lyons and his chief sergeant took us into their tactical operations center, sat us down in their briefing room, and literally took the time to give us a presentation on operations and how the entire unit was broken out. One of the things that they were extremely proud of, and we actually got a handout with the history of their unit, which I'm sure we could take a picture of and post later online. But one of the things they're extremely proud of is the 332nd Operational Air Wing is the natural descendant of the Tuskegee Airmen, the famous African American pilots that flew with unbelievable honors in World War II, and really, even though they were under-resourced and probably not treated exactly right, they performed at a higher level than any air wing performed in World War II, in a relative speaking way. And so really, really proud of that. They wore that on their sleeves, and they were, you could tell, it was one of the first things they talked about, and they talked about it multiple times. And they drew their courage and everything they're doing today from that history, by the way. So for those of you that find history in the Tuskegee Airmen, a great story, which it is, it's good to know that their legacy goes on today in the fight in our Air Force and really across our military in a very real way. But the thing that struck me was Colonel Lyons, I believe he's a 97 grad from Air Force Academy, which, not to give any, I have to tell the joke because it's my favorite. The Air Force is a really good alternative to military service. For those of you who don't know, I'm a West Point, United States military 94 grad, so I'm older than he is, but I didn't have him outranked. But he's literally taking the time and expressing how important the USO's mission is to these guys, and it was interesting because everything here is about the time of the year. Because when it gets to July and August, he basically said the honeymoon period's over, and to keep people, in a good mood and smiling is ultimately important to their mission, because at 130-degree temperatures, when you're right on the ocean, so you're getting plenty of humidity to go along with that, so it's not a dry heat. It's very oppressive. And so the work that the USO does and morale and welfare does there on post really, really makes all the difference. And he was very, very clear about that. But what was most clear is that he was taking the time to do it. And so here's the stat. Since General Mattis is now the in charge, if you will, commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I believe he's a defense secretary. He's the defense secretary and secretary of defense. And since he's in charge, the tempo has picked up drastically, and we were able to see, and by the way, it picked up prior to him being in charge as well. So I want to be fair in this. It's not a political statement. The mission has changed a little bit, or the objective has changed a little bit, but there was great headway being made all through 2016 against ISIS. But now we have sorties or planes taking off from the coalition every 2.5 minutes, and we're delivering a weapon on target every 8 minutes. And so we probably met in there for 45 minutes. In the back of my head, I'm like, that means that, 5, 6 different weapons missions had gone off. Targets had been hit since he had been sitting in there that are from units that are under his command. And the mission of the USO was so important, and for him to promote that, to take the time away to have that briefing with us, really speaks volumes to what the USO is doing out here. So our hope is to come back every day and give you guys a little video blog about what's taking place. Maybe this is my first video blog, so perhaps I'll get a little more comfortable and figure out what you guys want to hear more. And if we do post this before I do my next video blog, if you've got any suggestions or things you'd like to find out about, or perhaps if you'd like us to take pictures of non-classified things that we can share, we'd be happy to. I will tell you a funny story when we were driving on, and it was so evident to me when we drove into this air base that, you know, look at these hangars, I'm like, damn, those things had been attacked, and they had been attacked accurately. And so I was like, gosh, I really, really kind of deep down hope that that was not the Iraqi fires taking out the Kuwaiti jets in these bunkers, because the accuracy of these fires were on point. I mean, dead spot right in the top of every one of these hangars, these fortified hangars for these jets. And so I asked the question later of the Air Force commander there, and he's like, no, actually, this is after the Iraqis had taken over Kuwait. They had moved jets in there, and they had, you know, commandeered certain Kuwaiti jets, and so those were American fires, thank goodness, that had delivered those very accurate bunker busting type of bombs onto these hangars. And the funny thing was, obviously they were very effective, and we all know what happened in the first Desert Storm. It wasn't a very long war, and it was, you know, the coalition couldn't have been more effective. But the funny thing is that the Kuwaiti government is suing the French over that, although they weren't in control at the time, because the French had sold them on this structure and on this plan that were completely bomb-proof, right? And they obviously were not to American, you know, outstanding weaponry. So I thought that was hilarious, that even though it wasn't them in there at the time, they're still pursuing the French because somebody was able to blow those hangars up. So it was really, really funny. So anyways, after that, we had the opportunity to go to the recreation center. We passed out dozens and dozens and dozens of care packages. The excitement about those care packages picked up as people started to roll into the rec center faster and faster, asking if they could get them. So I think we did a good job. So cheers to and kudos to all of the BBMC employees, particularly those in Cleveland, who put all the time in to put these together and pack these, and actually across the employees across the country who wrote letters, but again, particularly in Cleveland, for those who made up the gap to make sure there was a personal note in each one of them. I could tell you just from the looks on their face, they're extremely appreciative, and they they couldn't have been more appreciative, and I'm sure that they'll remember that, right? And obviously, the USO does stuff like this every single day for these guys. That's why we're huge supporters of the USO. That's why we're here to see what's going on and the good works they're doing. And after one day, I feel very confident that they're not slacking on what they need to do to take care of these airmen, soldier, Marines, and even our multinational coalition forces as well. It's really inspiring to see the impact that they have, and even at the command level, for them to recognize how big that impact is really meaningful to me personally. So after that, we got out of there pretty smoothly. Had a lot of conversations, a lot of great folks. Unfortunately, we haven't met anybody from Illinois, because I had a special coin for somebody there, but we met folks from Montana and California and Arizona, Kentucky and Ohio and Texas and Florida. Even met Puerto Rican, met somebody from New Mexico. Really just a broad swath of Marines and airmen that we had had an unfortunate opportunity to speak to. The facilities are very nice. USO's done a great job of helping outfit the furniture there. They have pretty decent Wi-Fi connection at the base that we were at yesterday. That's something that we learned a lot about, in how the USO brings connectivity from a Wi-Fi perspective and satellite connections to our soldiers in some of the hardest to get to places. And there's no doubt that that's important for these guys, particularly because we're all used to these little machines that we got now, and to not have them work at all or anywhere on base could probably really make you feel like you were on an island or in the middle of the desert, which they are. So outside of that, the only thing I would comment on is the driving here is interesting. About 10% of Kuwaitis, as far as I can tell, really like to push the limit as far as anything that we considered sane of operating a vehicle. Really strange at times, and about 90% just get along just fine, and about 10% really take the chance of messing up. We saw some nasty wrecks, the aftermath of some nasty wrecks on the side of the road. And boy, you can see how it happens after driving up and down these roads for a while. So today we're off to an Army base, like I said. We're actually going to stay the night there, and I'll be back, and maybe this will be edited, so I'm not umming and ahhing the whole time, but we'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit more. So thanks for the opportunity, and we're go BBMC and go USO, and for all of our employees and for the people watching this back at the U.S., you should be proud of what these guys are doing over here. They're really doing an amazing job, and they are outstanding young men and women. So very excited to be here. Thanks.